Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time stopping by, I'm Karen. You're at the loft, and that makes you wicked smart. So if you love snowmen, you are going to love today's video. It is jam-packed with some high-end snowman decor that I promise you can do it on a budget. And if you want to help your girl out, please hit that subscribe button. Share with your friends if you find some value in today's video, and help me get to 10,000. I am so close to my first 10,000 subscribers here, and I would really appreciate your support. So, with that being said, let's not waste any more time, and let's get right into our first snowman DIY. For this DIY, I found this pedestal candlestick at the Dollar General. It was $8. I got it 50% off. It was left over from the spring. It was a little bit too washed out for me, but I loved the detail on it. So I took some antiquing wax and I darkened that up. And now I'm going to take some white chalk paint with a dry brush, and I'm just going to hold it flat on its side, and I'm just going to run the brush over all of these raised details to bring out those beautiful that beautiful design on these candlesticks, and it's so pretty. It changed the look of this from kind of like dated. Remember when everything was kind of whitewashed and kind of pickled? It was almost had like a little pink hue to it, and it just enriched it up so much. And just bringing just a tiny little, the littlest bit of chalk paint on my brush. Watch right here how this, it just makes it pop. I love it so much. So I get this all highlighted with the white chalk paint. I'm going to take one of the, I don't really know what they call it, and I believe they're used for like when you're making a vase, an arrangement in a vase. These thingies. It's not really a cone. I don't really know what kind of shape to call it, but they fit perfectly in the top of these candlestick holders. And I'm going to just load it up with some hot glue because I couldn't get to my tacky glue on my E6000. And I'm just going to hold it down firmly until that glue completely cools off and has a chance to set up. And then I go into my stash. I pull out all my greenery, and I get a couple of the plain, inexpensive garlands at Walmart at the beginning of the year, so that I can use that to cut it up, and I can use it for filler and like for the background of some of my Christmas arrangements. And I'm just going to pull out some of my other favorites, all of my little frosty bits that I can find, and I'm going to break them all up, which is the key to using the Dollar Tree florals. Break them up and spread them out, and it makes them look so much more high-end. I'm also using a couple of picks from Walmart that have some white berries in them, and I'm just going to kind of go clockwise on this thing. 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, you know what I mean. 12, 3, 6, 9. Spin it around, fill in all the gaps, get it all evenly spaced. And I'm not even really gluing any of these. I'm just kind of sticking them right into this foam. This foam is awesome. It's not like the soft, squishy foam. This is the nice, hard foam. So now I'm going to go in and I'm going to fill in all the spots with some pine cones. Fill in all the little gaps that I see here and there. That's another reason why I like having those garlands on hand. I can just break off like little pieces of that just to kind of fill in the little bare spots that I see. So I'm not sure what's coming up next, but I'll let you just watch until I get ready for the little snowman to go on top. All right, so now that I got that all filled up to my liking, I'm going to take this little snowman that I got at Hobby Lobby, half off of $5. I picked up about a dozen of these things, and I will show you at the reveal a couple of different ways that I made them this year. I made each one different. This hat is a Walmart ornament, and I'm going to use some of this Sherpa yarn that I have to make him a little scarf. Now he's going to be very minimalistic. He doesn't have a face. I was kind of wishing I had put some buttons on him. I don't think this one got buttons. I can't remember. They all each had their own little personalities, but I'm going to get this hat secured on. I'm going to give it a little bit of hot glue, and I'm going to get him ready to sit him on top of his little pedestal. He's going to get some little arms, which is just the frosty, twiggy bits after I picked all the leaves off. It's just my little leftovers that I didn't throw in the trash. So they make the perfect little arms. And that's it for him. He's done. And I'm going to stick a dowel up the bottom side of him, load it up with hot glue, and I'm going to stick that dowel right into the foam on top of the pedestal, hold that down really firmly until all that glue cools off and sets up. And then you'll see that I take I think I use my glue gun. If I don't use my glue gun, then I'm going to take my Aleene's tacky glue. And I'm going to go in and load it up with all the nooks and crannies. If I see any styrofoam showing through, if I see something I don't like, I'm going to cover it with glue. And then I'm going to sprinkle it with the faux snow from the Dollar Tree. And you'll see me do that here. Oops. Sorry guys, I thought I showed you how I filled in all the nooks and crannies, but I guess I didn't. So here is another version. This is a Dollar Tree metal tree skirt that I painted all rusty and crusty. I'll link that tutorial in my description box so you can see how I did that. This little snowman didn't get arms, but I did break off a couple of the pip berries from the pip berry garland that I wrapped around the vine, and I made little heart buttons. And he's just got the little pip berry garland from the Dollar Tree around his neck for a little scarf. And I also used these twigs in his video back in the spring that I will link as well. And I got those from my backyard. I cut out a piece of poster board, the foam board from Dollar Tree for the bottom of the metal tree skirt, filled it all up with styrofoam, and used the dowel again in the bottom of the snowman to stick him into that. And then I took a bunch of bottle brush trees between Dollar Tree and Dollar General, different sizes, and I just kind of glued them in. And then I did the same thing with all the nooks and crannies. I went in with my hot glue and sprinkled in the crystal snow from the Dollar Tree. I love this one, and it went right out the door before I could give him arms, but he was adorable. So here's another one that I did. Now this was a cake plate that I had that had cracked, and I glued it together, and then I painted it green with some green spray paint, and all those greenery bits I just glued directly to the cake plate to cover up the crack. And then I used E6000 and some hot glue to glue him down. I made him some little pipberry buttons. I gave him a little scarf with this gorgeous velvet ribbon that I am obsessed with this year. I will also link that in the description box. I love it. It's such beautiful quality. I put a little Dollar Tree lantern. No, actually, I think I got those from Hobby Lobby. They come in a little package of 6. And I put that little lantern in his hand, and I cut another little piece of the ribbon for his nose. And I just think he's adorable too. So here's the final reveal of our first snowman. What do you think, you guys? Drop me a note in the comments and let's get into DIY number 2. So these little lanterns I found at a consignment shop. They were $5. I picked up 3 of them, and I knew right away that I wanted to do a snowy scene, and I thought I could fill it up with snow, but I quickly realized that the metalwork on the sides was open and it wasn't all encased. So I am going to fill it up with snow, but just not the little crystal snow. So stay with me. I'm making this little pedestal. I just cut off this piece from the wood shapes from the Dollar Tree, and I put a couple of Jenga blocks on the bottom. And I'm going to take these fairy lights, and I'm going to very strategically place a little dot of glue and glue the wire, not the bulb. They'll go right out and you'll ruin them. That happened on the second one that I did. So make sure you don't get hot glue on the little bulbs. And I'm putting a couple on the top. And then I'm going to take the rest of the strand and I'm just going to wrap it around the Jenga blocks underneath this little pedestal. And then I'm going to take some buffalo snow. And I'm going to peel back one of the layers. And I'm going to drape that over this little pedestal that I'm making as a base for a little wooden snowman and some bottle brush trees. And wait till you see how adorable this is when it lights up. And here's a little warning, sorry. I know some of you might be triggered by the bright lights. But I'm just going to let you watch as I put this thing together. So here I am taking the snow. I'm going to layer that on top. And I have to kind of work backwards from the front to the back, which was a little bit challenging, but we got it done, and it was so cute, and I had people fighting over the 3 that I had. So take a look and see how this adorable lantern got filled up. You guys, is that not the prettiest glow under that buffalo snow? Oh, so pretty. All right, so I'm taking a pack of these Snowman family from Michael's, and I'm going to take one of the adults. So 2 of these lanterns got one of the large snowmen, and then the third one, I used the 3 because the person that ended up with that lantern has 3 little babies. So she got the one with the 3 little snowmen lined up in a row. So I'm just giving him a rough coat of white, and I'm going to sand that back a little bit. I'm not going to be too picky about it. And then I don't paint the hat. I actually use some antique wax on it. And if you're new here, I always poke a hole in my antique wax so I can disperse it that way. Saves me a ton of money and a ton of product that I don't waste. I'm also going to give the snowflake some antique wax on both sides because I end up gluing this to the back window. So you do see it in the background behind the bottle brush trees from the front. So that's why I go in and antique and stain both sides of the snowflake. And here I go, giving his hat some color. And then I think you're just going to see me kind of play around with the trees like little puzzle pieces, trying to get everything to fit and everything secured. So I'll let you watch while I end up getting this cutie little lantern finished up. Come on, you guys. Is that not the sweetest, prettiest little glow? I just love it. Love it, love it. I'm so bummed I didn't keep one for myself. So, I have a bunch of scraps of ribbon that I'm going to just tie on to this little hoop at the top of this lantern. I'm going to tie it off with some twine and add I don't know if I add a rusty, nope. I think I add the rusty snowflake that you see at the top. Nope, that's not the rusty snowflake. That's the wooden snowflake. The rusty snowflake is hidden underneath the lantern. You can't see it. So I'm just going to wrap this at the top, make it like a long kind of tassel hanging off of here. And I'm knotting all the ends of my ribbons so they don't fray. I'm going to add the little rusty star to the tassel, and then I'm just going to glue the snowflake onto the back. And this little lantern is finished. I almost forgot about the last little detail for this lantern. I cut out this adorable little sticker that says "Let It Snow" with my Cricut in a really cute font. And I am just going to apply that to the front of the lantern, just at the bottom where the little snow is, so it shows up against the white of the snow. I absolutely love how this little lantern turned out. I'm really bummed I didn't keep one for myself, but I can't keep everything that I make, and some of my friends do let me have visitation rights, so I will get to see it when they bring it out from season to season. But I just love this because this is something that you can keep out all winter long. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Chat it up. I want to know which one is your favorite, and if you think you might look at that. Oh, so cute. Here's your final reveal, guys. This one really melts me. Makes my eyes so happy. All right, time for DIY number 3. So I got this snowman is an ornament from Walmart, and that black candlestick is from Dollar Tree. And I'm gonna take the eye hook out of the top of his hat, and I'm gonna take my antique wax, and I'm going to go all, I don't know if you saw the details of the body of the snowman, but there's lots of like ridges and angles on him. See there? So I'm just going to run my brush over that with just a little bit of antique wax on it, just to kind of warm him up a little bit so he's not so bright white, and to accent all those little angles and those details. Then I'm going, I believe I also rubbed some around the silver band and his hat to kind of dull that down. It was a little too blingy for me. So I think I waxed that as well. Yep. Here I go, and I do that, and I kind of take down that shine a little bit. And if you guys are not using antique wax on your black painted projects, you really need to give it a try. It really enriches that paint, and it just makes the black so pretty. I can't even describe it. You just have to go try it. Just go try it. Let me know what you think. So I'm going to pat off the excess, and then I believe, what am I doing? Oh, I'm just putting a little bit of greenery on his hat, some greenery and a couple of little berries, and then I'm going to go all over the top of his hat and parts of the brim with some hot glue, and I'm going to sprinkle that with some of my the vintage snow mixture that I mix up. Leave me a comment if you don't know what that is. I'll tell you what that is. I'll explain that to you. But you'll see here, I sprinkle some of that on the top, and I think that's it. And I get out one of those little floral foam coney, half cone shapey things for the top of this candlestick holder, and I push this snowman into the top of that and indent it so that I can mimic the shape of the bottom of the snowman, so that I don't put any greenery there, and he can fit snug as a bug in a rug when I put him on the bed of greens. I really like the pop of red in his scarf and in the berries in this one. What do you guys think? Here's your final reveal. What do you guys think? You liking him too? Leave me a comment below and let's get into DIY number 4. All right, you guys, this DIY is going to go left, right, sideways, and all around. And I'm really sorry, but I really wanted to bring this to you somehow. And the original that I made flew out the door. I'm not kidding. The lady told me she was being very patient, waiting for me to come in and put it down on the counter and put a price tag on it and not be rude and take it right out of my arms. So the inspiration for this DIY is this wired snowman, 28-inch snowman from Walmart. And I have been trying to add it to my cart for 3 years. And I almost thought I nailed one this year. I saw one available in inventory in one of my local stores. I added it to my cart and I woke up the next morning to a message saying that it was no longer available. So I was like, screw it. I'm going to make my own. So here we go. You're going to need these 4 sets of these brass rings from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to put the big one aside. I'm going to show you how I use that later. Stay tuned to the end. You won't be sorry, okay? So like I said, you need 4 sets, and we're going to be working with the small hoops and the medium-sized hoops, okay? And I'm going to show you how I wire them together here in the small one. I've already gone and done the medium-sized one off camera, okay? So I'm going to like sew them together with wire, so to speak. I'm going to wrap the wire around each one a couple of times. I'm going to go under to the next one, loop it around that one a couple of times, bring it around to the next one, and go round and round and round. Then I'm going to hit it with a little bit of hot glue. Not really so much to hold it in, well, I guess maybe to hold it in place, but I'm kind of reinforcing the wire as well, okay? So I'm going to go crisscross one way and then crisscross the other way, and it takes a little bit of finagling, but you want to keep checking back to make sure that your loops are evenly placed and they all lined up in a crisscross 2 ways, okay? And then I'm going to put a little wooden finial on the top, and I'm going to fill all of that wiry stuff when I join the 2 of these spheres together to make this little wired topiary. And I'm going to take it all out in the end and spray paint it black, okay? You'll see, I don't think I showed that to you, and I think I forgot to show you the can, but I used the Rust-Oleum 2 times in a satin black, okay? Now, once you get this topiary done, the way that you style it, the ideas that you can style it will be endless, and I show you a couple of different ways before I explain to you how I made the one that was the original, okay? I was making it just as we were opening the shop, and I was trying to restock my space after opening weekend, and there just wasn't enough time at the time for me to film all of my DIYs, edit them, and get them out. So I had more hoops left over. So I decided I would make one more frame and at least show you how to make the frame. And then however you style it, that's up to you. like I said, the ideas are endless. So I'm just going to play the music and let you watch while I get this all kind of stitched together and secured. And the trick is to keep your fingers close to your work and make sure that you're pushing that wire into the intersection, so to speak, of each hoop. Okay, so I get these two wired together pretty much the same way, wrapping the wire around one of the rings a couple of times, looping it over to the next one, wrapping that around that one a couple of times, and around and around. And it's not pretty. It's not pretty. But after I get my hot glue and I get my nozzle in there and I fill up all of that wire with hot glue and let it sit, I take it out and I spray it. It kind of looks like it was all kind of welded together. If you want, if you want to use your imagination, you can kind of think of it that way. But once you put a scarf on it and you put some greenery in it and you get it all dressed up and staged, you don't see any of that stuff in the middle. And like I said, the ideas are just endless when it comes to what you can do with it. And while I was looking for something to stage it for you, I really wanted like a nice big wooden bowl to put it in with some greenery, but I didn't have one of those on hand to show you. But what I did find was that the metal tree skirts, the little mini tree skirts from the Dollar Tree, they fit perfectly, whether you put it up or you flip it over and you do it down. So here it is as is. It will fit right that way as well. But I flipped mine over like a bowl. And I took some branches off of my tree and I just filled it in with some fresh greens. And I thought, how cute would it be to fill a snowman topiary with snowballs? Take these snowballs from Dollar Tree, spray them with some spray adhesive and roll them in the glitter snow. Wrap some of this chunky yarn around his neck with some greenery for a cute scarf. I think that would be a beautiful option. But here I had one of these little mini tree skirts that I had already painted Rusty and Crusty. And if you saw my last video, you saw how I flocked these plastic round ornaments. And I thought that they would just look really pretty in here. And here is that velvet ribbon again that I am obsessed with. And we'll have it linked in the description box as well. I get it on Amazon. It's a nice big roll for not a lot of money. And it's beautiful. I'm going to get it in all the colors next year because I just thought this was so cute. So I also think that this would be beautiful filled up with fresh greens and some white tipped pine cones, like a bunch of pine cones and maybe some twinkle lights. And this was my thought for the dough bowl, like something long and oval. I thought this would look really pretty sitting in the middle of that with the greenery branches coming out of either side. But this is how I threw it together just for you so that I would have a reveal for you. But I'm going to show you and I'm going to try and explain to you the best I can how I made the original one. Okay, so like I said, I've wanted something like this for a few years now. This isn't quite 28 inches tall, but it's not mini either. This is a nice statement piece. This would be beautiful on a table somewhere. So here is the original. And it all was inspired by the can, which came from Dollar General. I think it was $8. I got it a couple of years ago, and I loved the colors in it and the trees. And the fact that we're a tree farm, I just wanted to fill it up with bottle brush trees. So what I did was I wanted to add some weight to it, and so it wasn't so top heavy. And if you heard me say before, if you're going to sell your pieces, if you can add weight to them, it's going to make them feel higher end when your customer goes to pick them up, okay? So I just went out to the driveway at the shop. We have a gravel driveway, picked up a couple handfuls of pebbles, threw them in there, and loaded it up with hot glue so they weren't jiggling around, okay? Then I took a piece of that garland, that inexpensive garland that I get from Walmart, and I cut a piece, and I just rolled it up and coiled that up inside the can until it reached to the top. Once I got to the top, I put a ton of hot glue around the inside edge of this can, and I pulled some of the branches like straight up, sticking straight up out of the middle of the can, okay? Then I took another length of the garland and I cut it long enough to make a wreath, okay, that would sit right on top of this can. And I took the branches of the wreath and I pulled up the branches from the inside of the can that were glued to the inside and twisted them together to secure that little wreath to the top of the can. And let me tell you, once that was wired, all the branches completely around, it wasn't going anywhere. And then I just started adding all kinds of different greeneries that I had in my stash, some little pine cones, some of these white berries, that gorgeous velvet ribbon for a scarf to hide all that messiness in the middle of his neck. And then I added the bottle brush trees. And wait till you see what I did with the large. So if you remember, the Dollar Tree sets, the brass hoops come in small, medium, and large, okay? So for these little snowman topiaries, we use the small and the medium, okay? Now this is what I did with the big one. So his head is the large hoop from the Dollar Tree set of brass hoops. The bottom hoops are just a little bit bigger, and they were left over from that fundraiser that I worked on last winter. I will try and get the dimensions of them and add them to my description box, okay? The top hat I found was a tree topper from Dollar General. I ripped everything off of it because I just wanted it to be plain black. I added a black velvet ribbon over all the gluey mess that was underneath it. And I added these candles that are on remote control. Now, these candles are indoor-outdoor candles, although unless you live somewhere that's really protected, or maybe you secure them maybe with some double stick tape or something, I don't know if I would put this outside. But when I tell you this looks gorgeous in an urn, and you'll see a quick shot of it in my urn, it is so pretty. But I also wanted to show you that it can also sit tabletop, because I put a wreath on the bottom. I put the snowman on top of the wreath. I laid a wood round inside that I painted black so the candles would have something to sit on. And then I put a smaller wreath inside. And then I wired those branches all together. Those two wreaths on the bottom to secure that. Now, doesn't that look so pretty in that urn? And here it is inside. This is where I first had it in the shop. I just love how this came out. Let me know what you guys think. I know I brought you a lot of information today, and I appreciate you stopping by. Now you know what to do if you found any value in today's video. Like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends, help your girl get to her 10,000 subscribers. I would really appreciate that by the end of the year. And until then, you guys, have the best holiday season with your loved ones, and I will see you in the next one. Merry Christmas, everybody.